Executive Director of the Honor Bowl. I wanted to tell you what an honor it is to have another Arizona school in this event. Come on. Come on. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. I got some friends I want you to meet, and then I'm going to tell you the story of the Honor Bowl, because I'm telling you right now, you need to know why you're in this event. You need to know the heart of this event and why you're here, and why we are called the finest high school football showcase in America. First of all, I want to introduce First Sergeant Freddie Torres. I want to introduce Gold Star Sister Melissa. I want to introduce Gold Star Father Tom Schumacher. I want to introduce Chief Joe Pisano. And I want to introduce Gold Star Mother Patty Schumacher. What's a Gold Star? A Gold Star is someone who lost their kid in battle fighting for our country. A few of them have something they want to say to you. Also, where's my buddy Rick? This is Rick Sutter. All the graphics you've been seeing on Instagram and Twitter, that's the guy that's been making it. Right there. Guys, I'm a football coach just like all these other coaches. But in 2010, my life changed, and that's what resulted in this Honor Bowl. I had two boys that served with me, my two sons. They played football for me. In 2006, because of what they saw happen in 2001, when they were just freshmen in high school, they said, "Dad, we want to serve." My boys were patriots. And right out of high school, they went right in. When one went into the Marines, one became one of the best U.S. Army snipers we had in this country. But in 2010, my life changed after all their terrible deployments, after seeing friends killed, friends lose their legs, friends died, buried in the ground. My one Marine son with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines was being sent to Afghanistan. And what we would do is we would go to Camp Pendleton, we'd buy them a keg of beer, we'd invite all the Marines over, and before they left on their trip, we'd have a little party and say, "Get some." Well, this one was a little different. My son never told me where he was going. But at that party, he came up to me and he said, "Dad, let's take a walk." And I said, "What do you mean you want to take a walk? All your friends are here." "Dad, you need to know where we're going." So he took me around the arm and we took a little walk, and it was at that time he said, "Dad, we're going to a place in the Helmand province of Afghanistan called Sangin. Do yourself a favor, don't Google it." What do you think I did, coaches? Right off the bat, Google it. And I saw, wait, you're going to this place? This place where the British Royal Marines occupied that territory for 2 years? This place where the British Royal Marines lost 200 men? This place where over 2,000 of them lost their legs? You're going to this place? "Yes, Dad, that's where we're going." I learned in that part. A few weeks later, my son told me that when they were landing in their FOB at their base in Afghanistan, as they were landing, the helicopter was hearing ping coming off the skin of the helicopter. It was bullets as they were landing into their FOB. He said he could look out the window and he saw white sheets all around their FOB. Now, what does white sheets usually mean? Surrender, right? Not to the Taliban. The Taliban put those sheets on the ground, and in black spray paint, they spray paint, "Death to the Americans! Death to the infidels!" That's you and I, guys. That's when they were landing in their base. They get secured, they get acclimated, and then the first patrol leaves out that gate. These guys were ready to go get some. They leave out the gate, and it wasn't 10 minutes later, boom! Oh my God, what happened to that patrol? Oh my God, they're radioing. No radio back. So the Marines in the FOB, they arm up, they get in their Humvees, they get in on their artillery, and they rush out that gate. What happened to that patrol? When they arrive at that scene under enemy sniper fire, they discovered that a bomb blew up under one of their Humvees. It was so big that it lifted the Humvee out of the ground, twisted it like a corkscrew, and 4 Marines instantly lost their life. I'm back home in Granite Bay, California, a football coach. And a friend of mine calls me up the street and he says, Coach, something happened to a family next door. Your son's a Marine, right? Yeah, my son's a Marine. He goes, listen, there's something going on next door. Something happened to their son. He's a Marine. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get a hold of the family. So I get a hold of the family, and I find out as they're on their way to Dover Air Force Base to pick up their son's body, that their son was killed. He was a U.S. Marine, and get this, he played football for me. Tragic. So they come home with their son's body, and I get to know the family, and the family says to me, Coach, will you eulogize our son? I'd be honored to eulogize your son. Thank you. So I eulogized him. I saw the flag-draped coffin. I saw the body get lowered in the ground. It changed my life. And then this is where it gets freaky. 2 weeks later, my son calls me from Afghanistan. He's on the satellite phone. And he's like, Dad, my colonel tells me a coach buried Victor Dew. Was that you, Dad? Are you the one that buried Victor Dew? I said, yes, son. That was me. He goes, Dad, I was there. I cut him out of the vehicle. Changed my life. Changed my family's life. Changed the trajectory of my life forever. Guys, I tell you this because by the spirit of your athleticism, by the fact that you drove all the way out here, by the fact that your coaches work every day with you guys, by the spirit of that all, this is your way of giving back. By the fans that buy tickets, the people that buy merchandise, by everybody that comes to this event, that's what the Honor Bowl is. It's about playing for the men and women that fought, bled, and died for our freedom. How many here have veterans in your family? How many? You're playing for them. You're playing for them. You're not only playing for you guys, but you're playing for them. It's an honor to have Perry High School in this event. I wanted you to hear that talk, as hard as it is for me to say it. I wanted you to hear the heart of the honor. Now I have a 3-5 Marine that I want you to meet. He was in Sang in Afghanistan. Let's give it up for First Sergeant Freddie Torres.
First of all, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come up here. And thank you for coming out from Phoenix, Arizona area. I'm from Arizona myself. I was born and raised in Tucson. In 2006, I joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. I was 18 years old. I was an athlete just like you. In 2010, Coach just talked about Sang in Afghanistan, the deadliest battle the Marines faced in Afghanistan. Now, I happen to be part of that. We talked about October 2010, when those 4 Marines died. I'll fast forward a couple months to December of 2010. I'll share another story, and I'll tie it in with you in the football field. December 30th, 2010, a patrol pushed out of their patrol base, out of their base. They pushed out on their first mission in a new area. They were gaining intelligence, talking to local nationals. They were out there for about 4 or 5 hours. They were making their way back into the patrol base. On the way back, the back of that patrol, there was a Marine that stepped on an IED, an improvised explosive device, a roadside bomb. That IED was about 25 pounds big. That IED was meant to kill every single one of those Marines on that patrol. But thankfully, only about 4 pounds went off. And it shattered that Marine's foot that stepped on it. They got that Marine out of there, got him in a truck, got him back to the United States. He's fine. But now there's 20 plus pounds sitting out there of homemade explosives that the Marines had to go get rid of so the Taliban wouldn't pick it up and use it again on them. So the squad leader, the sergeant, the one that's in charge of all of those Marines, made a decision to push 4 Marines out there and put a stick of demolition down and blow it in place. As that happened, if you've ever watched the movie Lone Survivor, think in your head Marcus Luttrell at the top of the mountain, looking down, the village, it's all mud hut, alleyways, dirt. That's exactly what Satan looked like. So they pushed out the 4 Marines. The sergeant was in the back. They were about to put the demolition stick down. They were about to blow it when the Taliban from the east opened up from about 100 meters away. The Taliban used a tactic where they would put holes on their wall, called them murder holes. They would put their barrels down it, just spray and pray that they would hit one of the Marines. So that's what they did. They opened up from multiple fire positions from the east as the sergeant was about to detonate those explosives. Immediately, the 3 Marines that were out there, the other 3 Marines, ran around a corner to take cover. The sergeant got shot twice, raised up his weapon and ran in the direction of fire. He ran about 20-30 meters to a little divot, waist-high wall to get cover behind and re-engage the enemy. As he got there, he got on his back, he fell on his back, realized, looked down, that his camouflage uniform was completely red. It was filled in blood. The Taliban are still engaging. So here comes one of the other 3 Marines from around the corner, running to him, sprinting in fire, under fire, arrives to him, takes out his seatbelt cutter, his scissors, and cuts his pants off to realize there's blood gushing out of the leg. The femoral artery had been shot. He quickly applies pressure, puts his finger, puts his palm, puts gauze on it, applies a tourniquet, stops the bleeding. Realizing his sergeant doesn't have much time, he calls the base for a stretcher, the quick reaction force to come out. 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, that stretcher gets out, they put the sergeant on the stretcher, still bleeding out, a little bit of a controlled bleeding out, and at the count of 3, the team leader said, we're going to pick up my sergeant and we're going to get him out of here. Everyone needs to engage the Taliban. Fire back at them. So here they go, 1, 2, 3, they pick him up and they move him back about 100 meters to the patrol base to get him in a truck. As they were walking out and he was getting carried out, the sergeant, the one that had been shot, the squad leader, puts up his hand as he's getting carried out, and he grabs up and he looks at his best friend that's carrying him out, another sergeant, and he holds his hand. He says these last words to him. Tell my mom I love her. And tell my boys I'm sorry. He says it one more time. He squeezes the hand. Tell my mom I love her. And tell my boys I'm sorry. His hand falls. They get him in the truck. They get him out of Afghanistan. They get him to Germany. They get him to here, to California. That sergeant survived. It's January 2011. He's at Balboa Hospital right down the street from here recovering. The doctors come to him on the 2nd week and they say, hey, your leg's getting amputated. There's no way to reverse this damage, this nerve damage. We have to amputate your leg. It has to go. By the way, your career's over. You're getting medically retired. You're no longer able to serve. We understand you've been here for 6 years. You've done a lot for the Marine Corps, but your career's over. So that sergeant took it upon himself and he told the doctor, said, I'm not ready to retire. I'm not ready to give up my career. I still have a lot left in me. The doctors went against that. He said, give me a chance. So he started going to physical therapy instead of 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a day now. Instead of 3, 4 times a week, it turned into every single day working at it. And his challenge that was given to him, your leg's coming off. But his goal was that by the time April came around and the battalion came back from Afghanistan, that he would stand there at the bottom of that staircase when that plane landed and hug and receive his squad. I'll tell you right now, April 15th, when that plane landed at March Air Force Base an hour north of here, and that staircase came down, I stood at the bottom of that staircase, fully recovered, fully medically ready to go and re-enlist. And I hugged every single one of my squad members that saved my life that day. Just a couple months prior to that, my leg was supposed to get amputated. And I can't tell you the challenge, I can sit here and tell you all the challenges that I went through from January to April, everything that crossed my mind, the adversity, the challenges, the give up, just stop, it's gonna happen, your leg's gonna get amputated, your career's over. I faced all these challenges, and physically, mentally, I had to go through it. And I share this story with you, not to put myself up here and look at my injury, look at me, no. Because I went through something, and I faced that adversity, and I came through it. Just like every single one of you, you're gonna face a challenge, not just on the football field. You're gonna face adversity in life as you're going through it. It may be a relationship, it may be in family, it may be at home, whatever it is, fill in the blank. You can get through it, just like I did. I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I started sharing the story 2 years ago. Before that, I didn't want to share this story. The Marines would come up to me and say, hey, can you share that warrior case study? And I was like, no, I'm not, because I had shame and I've had guilt from that story. Because I didn't get to finish the deployment with my squad. I gave up on them. I didn't really give up on them, I just got injured. 2 years ago, God put me on my knees and said, it's time for you to share that story now as a testimony. And ever since, God has put me in front of people to share that story, and now I get to minister to youth, high schoolers, just like you, every single week. And I get to minister to young adults every single week. And I get to minister to men in a men's Bible study every single week. I share all this with you because it hasn't been easy. Life hasn't been easy. There's times where it's been hard, and times where I'm like, I should have gotten my leg amputated, it's hurt, it's painful. But I stand in front of you today as a testimony from God. He kept me around, even though it took 10 plus years to get it out, to share this story with you. Thank you for what you do. You're going to walk through the banners of 25 Marines that didn't make it back that deployment, and I thought I was one of them. And I wasn't. God kept me around for a reason. Good luck today. God bless you the rest of the season. Thank you.
First Sergeant Freddie Jordan. One more speaker, then I got some hospitality stuff to go to tell you guys about. Here's Patty Schumacher.
The Marine that Mark talked about in the very beginning, that changed his life, that formed the honor group, was my son, Victor, my husband. One of the things about him, not only did he play football, he was a second-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he had a lot of the personal self-growth in there. The Marines are honor, courage, and commitment. Freddie talked a lot about this, but I'm going to flip it just a little bit in a little different aspect. Honor. Honor is something that you do that is morally right, spiritually right within you. It's ethically right. It is what you do when everybody is looking at you, knowing that it's the right thing to do. And it's what you do when nobody is looking at you. That is the right thing to do. Courage. The courage to do that when everybody is looking at you. Being courage, or having that courage within you, is something that you're going to take with you. The commitment goes along with that. The commitment to your team is something you have now. To the man on the left and the man on the right. The commitment you have to yourself and being honorable and being committed. That is something that you have now, and you take it with you every step as you go. It'll be when you go back to school. You're varsity. You're the ones that everybody is looking up to in your school, right? You are the cool guys. You're the ones that everyone wants to hang out with. Be honorable. Be courageous. Be committed. Story I got about my son when he came back, when the rest of his battalion came back from Afghanistan from a few of his buddies. That day, that morning that they knew they were going outside their fob, they knew that there was going to be IEDs out there. They knew it was going to be dangerous. Do you think they were scared?
Yes.
Absolutely, they were scared. They were petrified. My son spoke up, and Vic said, "We have been trained. We know what we are doing. We know what has to be done, and we can do it." So, applying that to you today, have you trained well for this game?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you trained well for this game?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I love the ma'am. Are you prepared to win this game?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to win this game?
Yes, ma'am.
Do it.
All right, guys. Look, our team Coach Ortiz, who is the young man that is going to have the honor to carry the flag and lead their team on the field today?
Who's the American flag?
American flag?
Ricky. Congratulations, Ricky. All right. So when it's time, I'll call your team over. I'll hand you the flag. Whoop it up as you go through there, right? There's a lot of photographers here, a lot of media. Have fun with that, okay? All right. Before the game, we have a pregame ceremony called the Battle Cross. I'm going to ask you guys to line up sideline with your helmets off. Okay? So be prepared for that. After the game, the coach will tell us who is your character award winner. And that character award winner will be the one from your team that exhibited brotherhood, spirit, all of that in the game today. The media in attendance, the match preps, the newspapers that are here will choose one of you as the MVP. You will get that award. One of you will get that award. At the end of that, when you get those awards, please go back and sign the sponsor helmets. Coach Ortiz, we'd like you to sign the helmet, okay? So the character and MVP sign the footballs, okay? All right. Let's get it up. Bring it in here. Bring it in. Bring it in here, guys. I cannot tell you what an honor it is for us, for Perry to be here today. We love you guys. Thank you for making the trip. Now, the Marines have a saying. It's get some. When they went out to battle, the thing that they would chant is get some. So when I say 3-5, you say get some, and say it loud. 3-5!
Get some!
3-5!
Get some!
3-5!
Get some!
Get some, guys. Let's go.